2 p.m. and we are going to call the TIRZ Board meeting. We're going to call the meeting to order at this time. We do have an agenda, and so, I mean, not an agenda. We do have an agenda. We have a quorum. I will get my mouth to work here in just a moment. First thing on the agenda that we have is to look over the meeting minutes from last month's meeting, and if you see any changes that need to be made, go ahead and make them. But we'll take a minute to look over that and then make a motion to accept them as they are, or any changes we need to make.
I move we accept the minutes.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to accept the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes with that. I'll sign those and get them to you after the meeting. Next, do we have anybody here for public comment, or any public comments today, Hannah?
We have no public comment for items that aren't on the agenda.
Okay, all right, well, we can move forward with that one, and with that, moving into the regular agenda, we're ready for the financial report.
Thank you, Chairman. Aaron Vanoy, Director of Planning and Development Services. So the financial report is the only thing that has changed on this document is the date right here. Nothing has changed as of right now. Our accounting team is still working through the end of year, and then they will give us our allocation. And you'll see how that's important later today with some of our applications that we have. So our current allocation is still for the south is the $408,150. There was a question, and unfortunately Mr. Brown is not here today, about the interest income. I did find out that that is budgeted one time a year, but it is allocated to the budget every month. Just as y'all had asked, does it get put into it every month? So every month they do pull the interest in and put it into the fund.
Okay, so it's budgeted annually and then pulled in
Yes.
monthly.
Yeah, so when that number there changes, that means they've pulled more interest in than what was budgeted for.
Okay. So it's going to be that way all year. That number is going to be there.
Usually that number will be there unless for some reason the interest came in a lot higher and changed that number that was budgeted. So if we budgeted 8,000 and say month 10, now we went into 8,500 with interest, it'll jump up to the 8,500.
Okay.
And then that would be reflected down on the available for assignment line. It would increase proportionately for that interest to say, okay, well, there is some more money to allocate for something. So again, the north, the only thing has changed is that date. So none of the numbers have changed. It's still the 2.5, where there's still a 1 million set aside out of that 2.5 for properties in the north that had any flood damage. We are working, is it with one property, Hannah, that has come to us? But most of the properties were outside of the area?
2 properties have come to us, but right now we're working with them to kind of figure out what can be funded and what cannot be funded. So
Yeah.
they'll probably be here at the next board meeting.
Yeah, so so I feel good that we're going to have at least some applicants that have come through that program and get them some funding fairly quickly for how they were impacted with the flooding in the
Okay.
TIRZ area.
Excellent.
So.
Yeah.
With that, I don't have anything else to report, Chairman, on the finance report.
Anybody have any questions from the board? All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. So we are looking at consideration and possible action for the North TIRZ properties, and following along the precedent that we've set. We'll look at them in a block. Of course, if you're here and are representing one of these, you're welcome to come up and make comments when it comes up. But if you guys are good with it, what? We haven't done it yet. Yeah. So, but thank you. We'll get there. Yeah. We'll get to that. But if you are here representing one of these projects when it comes up, you'll have a chance to come speak to us, and we look forward to that. But y'all good if we look at them as a block? Okay.
Perfect. These will be easy to look at as a block because they're all right next to each other.
Yeah.
The applicant is actually not here for these 4 today,
Okay.
but that's fine.
No. We were saving a spot for you.
I can give you a second to get settled in.
Okay.
Yes, underneath all that.
We
Then the
figured you
finance
were out
report.
working on your
Okay,
golf
perfect.
game. Nah, you're good. You're right on time.
Made it to the important stuff, Stephen. Okay, we ready?
Are you ready?
All
Okay,
right.
we're ready.
Okay, perfect. So for all four of these properties, they are requesting the full amount of funding, which is $75,000 each. It totals to $300,000, which still leaves $2.2 million in the north. And then we'll start with 223 West 20th. Their funding is requested as $75,000. Their proposed project cost is $100,000, and they're proposing to match $25,000. This one, they are doing some facade improvement. They're adding new windows, new doors, updating the driveway, and doing some landscaping. So they don't really have a model of kind of what they're doing now, or what they are wanting to do, but this, all they know is they're fixing this up. This houses 8 units, I believe. They're gonna update concrete, the driveway, the facade, and I believe they're doing a new roof for this one as well. And then we have 223 West 19th. These are all kind of bundled in with each other. And then they're asking for $75,000. Their project cost is looking to be $325,000, and their proposed match is going to be $50,000. This one, they're doing a demo of the existing property, landscape, fencing, window installation, and sidewalk. So you've probably seen this property before. Sorry, okay, next to it is what was approved at recent TIRZ meetings for the to do the duplexes. So this one, they're going to be demoing, and then they're adding the duplex. I'll show you what the finished duplex would look like at the end of this, because he just turned in his last 2 projects. And then 224.
Is it the same person that's doing the demo on the one beside it?
It is. These are all the same applicants.
Okay.
And then we have $75,000 for the funding requested, proposed project cost $325,000, and proposed match is $50,000. They're doing the exact same thing. They're demoing, doing some landscaping, adding fencing, window installation, and sidewalk. So this is the existing property right now. We've got this building here. They're looking to add the sidewalks down MLK, and then do the duplexes right here as well. And then here is what the ending result has looked like. This is what he just turned into me today with his receipts. So it looks like his project is finished, the last 2 ones that he got approved. And so this is what they turned out as.
How long did that, when was that first?
Yeah.
This was probably the first of the year.
I know that was in 2025 that they came through TIRZ, so it's been less than a year for them to go from start to finish, which is really exciting to get those on the ground. But I'm going to guess probably close to 8 months for construction time.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so the design or the end goal is to put these duplexes up in each of those properties?
Correct. They may not look like this 100% because I'm sure he kind of wants to change up a little bit, but
Sure.
what's here is the floor plan and everything is the same. It's a duplex, but I just wanted to include this so that way you kind of have like a feel of how they're going to turn out and what they're going to look like.
Okay, and he's doing a 50,000 or this, is it an individual that's applying?
It's a LLC that's
Okay.
applying,
So they're doing a $50,000 match on each project?
I believe, and then I think they're doing a 25 match on this
Okay, the first
apartment.
one, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't
Because this one, they're not demoing, they're not doing really much, they're just updating the facade and
updating it.
adding some paving.
Anybody have any questions?
Oh, wait, I have one more, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys, I thought I put that at the end, but I didn't.
Oh, okay.
It's the same exact thing, it's just 223 West 19th. Sorry about that. They're asking for 75 as well. Their match is going to be 50 as well. And then this is the house that they're going to demo. It's right on the corner where those other 2 duplexes are that he just added. It's this right here. Sorry about that. I thought I added that at the end.
No, that's all right. And so Steve, before we get to your comment, can you take, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Can you take us back to this? So we've got 2.2 million available for assignment.
Correct, if all these are fully funded.
okay, if all of these are fully funded. I got distracted by the red over there. So, okay, now, yes, sir.
First off, can I request we vote on these separately on this block?
I have no issue with that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think anybody on the board does either.
Okay. Well, and I'm glad you asked the question of when this got started. And there's several things that I kind of want to feed into. One of them is the future strategic planning committee report. But I drove by earlier. I think the demolition's already been done on the two that front Martin Luther King. They're already gone. I know that housing had been on the priority list 20 years ago when the vision and the policy for the city was established. But I looked up some real estate information yesterday, and of course we have a realtor here, but we're at our highest inventory of homes right now in San Angelo. We've been in, God, I don't know how long. And they're also telling me that some of the other real estate rental agents that the rentals are kind of soft. So I wonder about two things having to do with a couple of these properties. Is the fact is that I'm not sure that subsidizing housing is a big issue right now. We have plenty, plus there's limited available commercial lots down Martin Luther King. There's plenty of open vacant spaces for residential. So that's the reason I asked that we vote
Sure.
on these separately.
Each one of them individually? And do these all front Martin Luther King? I didn't, they do? Okay, that's what I thought. Ryan, what do you think about the rental market and the housing market?
I would say there's a lot of inventory on the housing market for sale. The majority of those probably aren't on the north side of town. A lot of that's due to interest rates. I think 2 years ago, we had 100 houses for sale when we had low interest rates, and now we have higher interest rates and we have 500 houses for sale. So I don't know, I think talking to a guy on the planning commission about the housing study, I think we're still underhoused per what we should be in San Angelo is what I've heard. I'm not sure. I don't know about the corners up there. I know those buildings have been there for 50 years looking similar to what they look now, and it is nice to get those replaced with something nice. There's going to be quite a bit more money going in on those corners into the tax base compared to what there was, and that's what everyone on the TIRZ wants as well, so I'm not sure. But voting on them separately would be fine.
Okay.
And I'll weigh in also as a realtor, that I think it's nice to have some rental properties that are nice-looking properties in that section of the city. I kind of go by on Sundays and look at the progress of some of the other ones that people are doing. There's one right down the street from my church. What I don't know and what I'm curious about, Steve, to your point, is what is the rental rate going to be on those properties, right? And so we don't have any way of knowing that. They can set the rates at whatever, amount that the market will bear. But it is a good thing to see some of these updates going in and making the community a little more attractive. And these are really right there. Both of them are kind of just adjacent. I think there's one lot from the corner on all of them, one or two lots from the Martin Luther King corridor. So it's nice to have some updates. But that's the question that I have, which we don't know, and that is how much are the rentals going to be. And the reason I say that from a realtor point of view, and I think Ryan would agree with me, people will buy properties in other sections of the city, and they will even rent properties in other sections of the city. To start now trying to purchase and or rent in this section of the city is going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Well, and speaking of the north side, between my son and I, and the last project was East Baptist Memorial, but we built about 180 of them north of Houston Hart, starting over in whatever behind Kaiser Carpet, I forgot what they call that addition, and out in Lakeview. It's good to see when you drive around, there's quite a bit of scattered construction infill, one or two at a time, when you drive in through those neighborhoods back there, over close to Lakeview. So there is some inventory being built over there. I don't know how well it's selling. What little I looked up, the price point was, it's just, construction inflation went nuts for 2 or 3 years. When we left that project east of Baptist Memorial, they were $135,000 for 1,180 square feet. And about the same as selling close to Lakeview, or listed at $225,000. I mean, $100,000 in 3 or 4 years. So it's just the cost of construction. So you can do the numbers and kind of indicate what rent has to be for them to do that by the time they pay the taxes and the insurance. So
Right, and
anyway,
then-
I'm glad to see it's happening. It's just on those corners along Martin Luther King. Eventually, it seems like there's going to be some activity.
Well, I think you're right, there's going to be activity, but the issue that I still think is whether or not people will really move to those neighborhoods, whether they're purchasing them and/or renting them. And to your point, again, because of the cost of the products, right? So they have to push the price of the houses. And so when you look at the value of the other houses in that neighborhood, it's going to take a while for that to catch up. So someone may say, okay, I'm not paying $200,000 for a house over here, per se, right? That may be the true value, but it's going to be a minute before the prices really catch up. But that's not anything we can control. But that is what they're going to have to do in order to be competitive and to get a return on their investment. It's going to have to be higher than what people would generally think to purchase a home in that community or to even rent one.
Any other comments or questions? Well, y'all ready to look at these one by one and vote up or down on them? Okay.
That'll work.
So,
Excuse me, Chairman. We probably will just need to open public comment for each one, if there's anyone in the public that wants to come and comment on them, and then you would, you can take your motion and your second, and then you'd ask for public comment, and then take the vote after the public comment. Yes.
you obviously took the minutes from the last meeting to remind me.
Well, I think,
Yeah. All right, so what are we looking at first?
Okay, we'll start with 223 West 20th. This is the one with their $25,000 match. This is just the one where they're cleaning up these apartments, 8 units. They're trying to just get them to look better. New roof, new windows, new doors, facade improvement, and paving improvement.
Okay,
And I can go back to this if y'all want to look at that.
we're good. And this is the one that the match is 25,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No demo on this one. They're just really doing a cleanup of this
Yeah,
corner.
yeah, so the project cost is less. All right, well, now, do we have any public comment?
We don't have any public comment for this item.
Okay, all right. So do we have a motion?
Move.
All right, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. And with that, we'll move on to property number 223 West 19th.
Okay. This one, they have a $50,000 match. They're asking for the full funding. And this one is, they're demoing that corner lot, updating the landscape, doing sidewalks, and adding the duplexes.
Okay, and so they'd put in, yeah,
I can go back.
no, you're good, but they'd put in a duplex, I mean, there too.
They're, essentially what they're trying to do at this, y'all have seen this at the last couple meetings. This whole lot, there's some vacant spots, there's some dilapidated spots, as you see. They're basically just trying to just get all these to be these duplexes.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of its own little community.
Absolutely on that. And so to make sure we got the order correct, it's motion and then public comment, right?
yes.
Okay, so do we have a motion for 223 West 19th?
Well, first off, I withdraw my request to have them all voted on separately. I've listened to the realtor, so we can save some time if y'all want to consolidate all of it.
What is that
I think
zone
Mr.
that's
Brown
right
had
there?
it. Okay.
Ryan, go ahead.
What was the zoning right there on
The
that?
zoning here is RM1. They did do a rezoning process And so RM1.
So it's already
is-
been rezoned.
It has already been rezoned for multifamily, this low-rise multifamily that they're proposing. Had it been RS zoning, they would not be eligible for TIRZ funding. They might be eligible for infill funding through a different program,
Yeah.
but not for TIRZ funding to reinvest into the area.
Okay, so y'all ready to move forward with the next one, since we're gonna vote on these en masse?
Okay.
All right,
Okay. We'll go to 224 West 18th. This is the same thing. They're looking for that $75,000 or matching the 50. And they are doing this corner house right here, adding some sidewalks down MLK and then adding the duplexes. You want to just tell me where you need me to go after? Okay.
Do we need to see the rest of these properties? I was gonna say,
Okay.
we've already walked through them. I was
Y'all just
letting-
tell me, guys.
Letting you do your thing
Okay,
there,
you're
so-
good.
All
Here's
right.
just the final. As I said, if all of these are fully funded, it'll still leave 2.2 million in the north.
And
this
we
is
haven't,
before.
this also does not show what's
Correct.
coming
Yeah, correct.
next month. Okay, so when the budget cycle starts over. On that note, do we have a motion to accept these or approve these? All right, so do we have a second for those? Second. All right, we've got a motion on the floor. Do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for any of these items.
All right, then let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye. All right, I didn't hear any nays, so motion passes on that. And we appreciate voting all at once on those. It's all right. Hey, if we need to do it, we're here to do due diligence. And speaking of that, let's move on to our South Tiers properties.
Perfect. Okay. As you guys see on the agenda, there are 8 properties, but as you see on this graph, there are only 5. 3 properties have pulled their applications, just in the sense of the funding, waiting for new funding to come in, and their project isn't really urgent, so to say. So this is why you see 5 in front of you. So we're going to go ahead, Kathleen, I'm not really sure if I just say we're going to pull 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, so they did voluntarily, we did put it out to them that since we haven't had our new funding allocated, some of these would be short, and we didn't want y'all have to vote on deciding some of them getting short, so we asked them to voluntarily if they wanted to pull it and then bring it forward at the next meeting. And so three chose to do that, and so from the agenda, as Hannah was saying, 6, 7, and 8 are being withdrawn, requested by the applicant. Do we need to vote on that?
Or do
Just, they
anything?
just withdraw them, so. So you won't hear those today, the number 6, 7, and 8 on item C. You will not hear today.
Okay, I think that makes sense to everybody.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with the 5. I will let you know 3 of them are requesting the full amount of funding and 2 of them are not. And that leaves us with 128,857 in the south if all of these are fully funded today.
Okay,
So we'll start with 121 North Chadburn. They're asking for 75,000. Their proposed project cost is 103,000, and their proposed match is 29,000. They're looking to do some historic preservation, replace windows, add some landscaping, external lights, and doors. As you can see, these windows up here this window up here is going to be replaced. They're updating the crowning of this, and then they're going to add new doors. And then I believe on this one, this is the new door, and then the lightings are expected to look like that. These little sconces. And
do
then-
we know if there is a business going in there? I mean, that building is vacant right now.
So I did talk with the applicant. They have a few things up in the air. They kind of want to do maybe a dance studio in there with some offices. They're thinking, okay, if the inside, obviously they're doing internal work. If the inside doesn't really work for a dance studio, they'll maybe do some offices. The applicant is here and they do have public comment. They have signed up for public comment. So I'm sure that they may be happy to answer that.
Okay,
Perfect. And we'll do 215 West Tuig. They're asking for the full amount of funding. Their proposed project cost is $5 million, and their proposed match is $107,000. They're just looking to add a fire sprinkler and smoke alarm system. This is what's going to be Steakhouse, the Copper Bowl. And the reason their project cost is so high because there's so many items that they're needing to do for it.
Yeah.
But safety first, they'll start with the sprinkler. It is not a residence.
It's zoned central business district, and their proposal is to open a steakhouse, an event center. And so, yeah, I'm sure it was a residence at one time, beautiful residence, but I'm glad it's getting to have some life brought back to it, or potentially life brought back to it.
That's been in the works for several years. I'm glad to see it started.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, then we're at 228 North Chadburn. The funding requested is $27,750. Their proposed project cost is going to be $37,000, and their proposed match is going to be $9,250. They're looking to update their framing for their new glass, paint the exterior, and then add that new window installation, and then as well as an awning. So you guys have seen this before. I think this whole board has seen this before. They've come back and they're looking for funding for this. Right now, it currently looks like to the right, it looks like this building. They're looking to do the tan, and then they're looking to add the awnings, the sconces, and really just update that exterior.
So have we already previously approved a grant
So
for them?
what they came forward for was not specifically for these items. They came forward for a fire sprinkler at the beginning.
Okay.
And so has been determined that they're not needing one for the occupancy that they're trying to do.
Yeah, the type of occupancy they're going to need does not require a sprinkler,
Okay.
and so they withdrew that application,
Yes.
came forward with a facade application.
Yeah.
Okay, and that wasn't that long ago.
No, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so the next one is 226 North Chadburn, which is right next to it. They're looking for $26,542. Their proposed project cost is going to be $35,000, and their match is going to be $8,000. They are essentially doing the same thing. This is currently what it looks like. And they are going to update that awning. They're going to have that match, or that paint as a green, and then they're going to do the sconces as well. And I believe they're adding a new exterior door to the last one there.
Okay,
Is the awning metal?
It will be, yes, sir. Okay, then we have 112 West Tuig. Their funding request is $75,000. The proposed project cost is going to be $152,000, and their proposed match is going to be $77,000. They're looking to add new windows, do some door insulation, and add new awning. Their proposal is to keep the historic integrity of the building, but it needs a ton of updated items. They're also going to be adding ADA items inside, which is why the project cost is so high. But right now, he's asking, obviously, for TIRZ items on the outside. They are looking to do a sales tax rebate to buy local, since they're going to be buying local items for this project.
yeah, what kind of business?
It'll be office space. It'll all be office spaces in there.
Okay,
And then someone on behalf of the applicant is here for public comment on this one as
good.
well.
All right.
The awning not metal?
It will not be metal.
Cloth?
Yes, sir.
It's perfect for a hailstorm.
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna approve any awning not metal personally.
Well, all of these items that you've seen in the south have all been approved by DHRC.
Okay,
And so that's what was approved.
all right. And so we have some parties here representing them.
Yes.
Does the board have any questions or comments on any of these?
Well, and I'll wait if they have a representative
Yeah,
here.
let's go ahead and,
Aaron, I have that sheet next to you with the public comment.
Yes, Chairman, if you'll open public comment, we do have, looks like 3 representatives to talk.
okay,
So we have Lindsay and Fava and Jim Osborne for 121 North Chadburn.
all right. Welcome, y'all. Come on up and tell us about your project.
Hi, afternoon, guys. Yeah, we're here to, we bought a building a few years ago, and we're trying to improve it, create a business inside that. You kind of saw our ideas. We do have a lot more ideas that go with that. we want to, I know the building is on the historic preservation list, and we want to try to keep it as much as that as possible, but kind of bring it back into our century too, you know? But did you guys have any questions on what our thoughts were?
What kind of business will it be?
Well, so the building was originally a theater. It's kind of a unique building, and it's got concrete floors in it and brick walls and 20-foot ceilings. It's a little over 4,000 square feet, so.
And what are your plans for it?
The building would make a perfect building for a dance studio. Up front, we're thinking. And then in the back, we haven't decided, maybe some kind of office space or something. But in the
And
front.
dance is very broad, because we're looking at kind of some cheer, kind of possible gymnastics. I mean, it's very tall.
Okay.
Yeah, for the kids mostly, and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What's your estimated time of construction?
for this particular,
Completion.
Depending on funding, I mean, the inside of the building wouldn't take too much, so, I would say, yeah, a year.
Soon you get the funding next month, and city council, as we approve it, the city council approve it, how long will it take before you
For
be
the
finished?
for the things that we put on the list to do the repairs, probably within 6 months.
Okay.
as long as we can get the contractors there.
Yeah. Lots of moving parts there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand that. So, any other questions or comments? All right. Well, we appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, who's next?
Next, we have Donnie Rodriguez for 226 and 228 North Chadburn.
How y'all doing?
We're good.
So pretty much we just want to do, I'm going to talk about both 226 and 228, and we're just trying to bring life back to the buildings pretty much. 228, our plan is to, it's going to be like a medical clinic kind of spa. 226, still kind of up in the air of exactly what we're going to do. But we do have plans, it's not set in stone.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Yeah. And those are metal awnings, correct?
Yes,
Those
both
are-
for both properties they are.
Okay, and that's the 226, and we want to see the future.
And we currently have a building permit under review for 228, so it's in process
Okay.
of reviewing that.
It doesn't look like we have any questions,
Okay.
so Donnie, thank you.
Alrighty.
What we previously funded for the sprinkler, was it 75 per?
I believe it was, yes,
Yeah.
I believe it was.
So we
Yeah.
eliminated that
Eliminated that, we're
on both
26 per.
buildings. Yeah, because it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
So that's why we're redoing this.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate that. We have one more?
Yes, Monica Ramos is going to speak on the one on, I think, 112 West Huig.
Okay.
Hello, Monica, Director of Downtown San Angelo. I don't know that I can really answer a whole lot of questions, but I was just asked to make a couple of comments on this property. It is ready to move forward with construction. There are contractors that are ready to get going, so if funding is approved, that will help move this project right along. And as you can see, you can tell that this property is currently vacant, and the property owner, the applicant, is well-known for enhancing properties in downtown and filling vacant spaces. So with no doubt, he wants to get this tenant ready and get some people in there to lease office space. That's all I have. Thank you.
My question is there more to it than just this front facade?
How much are they?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the side has been fixed up if I mean,
Well, it just.
looked at
said
these.
Door, window, and awning
So-
for $152,000 for a 16-foot wide front, so I was just questioning that.
You're fine questioning that. What he's asking for, window and door insulation and the awning, is his tiers, what he's asking for. The match is going to be the ADA, new installation of ADA bathrooms, ADA doorways, stuff like that. So that's why his project cost is higher, is because has matches that are higher, which is why.
Okay, so that's included in this request?
It is, yes,
doing
sir.
all of the ADA bathrooms and things
Yes, sir.
too? All right, that was.
And then he's updating the interior, but that's part of his whole project cost.
Yeah, and that was a great question.
No, that is a
by
great
the
question.
way. So, yeah,
I was gonna get in the facade business if this was what the bid was.
yeah,
We have the same question, don't you worry.
yeah.
It's a pet peeve of mine, but would the owner be willing to do something besides cloth on that awning? We're just paying for something that's gonna get weatherized and torn up with a windstorm or hailstorm.
I wanted to say just.
It
ask
doesn't
Nick
look
Pfluger
like-
about that.
Well,
Just ask Nick
I've
Pfluger down
told
there
Pfluger
about
about that
What is the
too.
life expectancy of a cloth canvas awning?
I have no idea, but I know an awning, when you can dent it, but you can't tear it up.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, would y'all like to separate these out and vote on them individually?
Does Monica have any knowledge of what the,
I'm guessing by the fact that she was shaking her head that, yeah.
I don't know what the applicants go another route. And there is a tree there to protect the awning.
That to me looks like a cheap piece of work. Now, I may be incorrect on that awning, but it doesn't look like it's stand to.
Monica, would you come forward so we can hear what you're saying?
and the gentleman over there?
And I think we have somebody else that wants to make a
Sure.
public comment.
I can't speak for the applicant on whether or not he would want to change his design to a metal awning, but as far as a historical look, the fabric awning is more historical than a metal awning. And then there is a tree there that could help protect that awning. And it is quite a small piece of fabric. I wish the applicant could have been here today to answer that question for you. But it's a small awning over the doorway.
You know what the
for
awning
consideration.
costs?
I'm sorry?
You know what the cost of the awning is?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure it's in the budget worksheet. Hannah might be able to answer that specific question, but I don't have that information handy.
Do you
I'm
you
so
know,
sorry.
Hannah?
What was your question? I'm so sorry.
Cost of the awning.
For 112 plus 2.
Looks like the cost of the awning is going to be 6,000 roughly.
How much?
6,000?
6,000 for
Yes, sir.
that? Interesting.
So, do we have anybody else that wants to make public comment on this?
We have no one else signed up.
So Chairman, it would be up to you. We don't have anybody signed up for public comment under the new rules, but it is up to the chairman. It is up to the chairman if you wanted to allow public comment to continue.
Well, at this point, you're standing there, so.
Okay.
Go ahead.
David Mazur, I'm the chairman of the DHRC board.
Okay,
And the reason we do a lot of these, because in the historical district, that's what we would like to see. That's what was done historically back from the 1920s all the way till now. That's the reason a lot of the awnings are cloth.
Okay.
I know it's a whole different deal with the metal awnings for longevity and all that, but we're trying to keep everything downtown like it was back in the day that it was actually constructed.
Can you
So
tell me what that awning's gonna cost?
that awning right there, about $600.
You said 6,000, Hannah?
That's a
what I
$600
thought.
awning.
That's
I
about
mean,
that's about a
I'm not-
$500 awning to
I'm
me.
not in, I mean, like I said, I'm just giving you my opinion on what the DHRC does. I had nothing to do with that, but
And if it were metal, what's your rough estimate?
on that right there, $1,200.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I've done 35 buildings downtown. We've done a lot of them, so
okay,
anyway.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for
I
your
have a
comment.
question, staff. They put down 6,000 on that awning in their application,
Yes, sir.
and he just said 600? We got a real discrepancy there.
Do we have any invoices on anything?
No, and our policies don't require those any longer. It's
Okay.
their estimate, but when we go to pay, they have to show a real invoice from the awning company of what it cost that
And
we
if
would
it's
pay
not that
back.
amount, do we deduct that from the
That is
amount that they are
correct.
given? Okay.
Hannah, so this project, the ADA part of the project is not reimbursable by TIRZ, is that correct? So he's only asking for the outside?
It seems, yes.
Okay.
It seems that he's looking to do his match with all the ADA compliant
Would
stuff.
TIRZ, would the ADA fall under TIRZ?
Yes, ma'am.
to be
TIRZ could cover it.
reimbursable?
Yes,
He
ma'am.
just didn't ask for that?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
On this particular property?
So again, if I may follow that up, so the request is just for the facade?
Yes, the request is just for this facade improvement, and then he also has the sales tax rebate in here for the locally purchased sales item, or locally purchased items
Well,
for his construction.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, and not to interrupt you there, but, or get ahead of you. But the tax rebate is not what, it's not driving up the cost of this, yeah.
Not so much
Okay,
to say.
so it's irrelevant to this cost discussion on this one, in my mind.
Okay.
So for the facade alone, we're saying, or he's saying, the $152,000? $153,000, basically. Can you go back and let's see the before and after again?
I think, Shirley, that 152 includes the ADA part, but he's not
Correct.
asking for reimbursement for that part.
Correct. The
So that's
150
where I'm having trouble.
Correct.
I think coming
Okay.
up with
Yeah.
75 for what he's asking for.
Yeah, for
Right.
the, for just the
Seems a
front.
little high, but I mean, could he redo the application, add the ADA part?
I can,
too?
me and Monica can definitely work with him to redo the application and let him know that the board advises that these items aren't asked for. And
Okay.
he can come forward when the next window opens.
Okay, so how about we do this? We pull this one and vote on it separately, but we vote on the other four just as a block. Are y'all comfortable with that?
I agree.
Okay, so at this time, just keep things moving forward. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the projects at 121 North Chadburn, 215 West Twohig, 226 North Chadburn, and 228 North Chadburn. And that 112 is the one that we'll vote separately on. All right, so we have one motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any other public comments?
No, sir, there was no other public comment.
All right, well, I will call for a vote with that. If you're in favor, say aye. Aye. And I don't need to ask for a nay there, so motion's approved. Congratulations to those of y'all on these projects whose grants were just approved. And now we will bring 112 West Twohig to a vote. I think we've discussed this one quite a bit, so I'm going to go.
Can I just kind
Yes.
of one more little there before we go? If they've got somebody ready to go, got contractors going on, I'd hate to punt this thing down the road because of just some clarification that they didn't list correctly. So I wish the owner applicant was here so we could verify that. I don't want to ruin the deal because of some.
Give me just a moment. I'm going to ask Kathleen a
Are
question.
you the contractor? Are you the contractor?
Not on that project.
Okay.
Come on up, Monica. Actually, do we need to go ahead and get the motions for before the public comment?
Yes.
Oh. Do we have motions on this one? Yeah, okay, so can we have a motion to approve this?
Approve, it doesn't guarantee it's gonna pass, but
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Monica, please come forward.
My
might be able to help clarify, maybe, but, so his total project cost is 152,000 for the exterior and interior improvements, like Hannah mentioned, anything else that he's doing in the inside. His match is the 77,000, and those were TIRZ eligible incentives.
Sure.
As his match, and he's requesting 75,000.
Okay, so it is for additional other than just this facade?
Yeah, it includes ADA upgrades too, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, making sure I was hearing you correctly on that one.
The ADA is included in the 152.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir. This is the total project cost, 152,000.
Yeah, but to go back to Brianne's comment earlier, or some of that discussion, TIRZ funds can be used for the ADA, but he's not asking for those specifically at the moment. Okay.
So I have a question then.
All
He's
right.
not asking for the ADA piece, right? And so when he moves forward, if we approve this, and if I'm understanding what Monica just said, the 152 includes ADA, the ADA portion. Is that correct, Monica?
You are correct.
So I'm just so confused. If he's not including it in his request, but I'm hearing that it is a part of the overall project cost, I need someone to break that down for me. I'm just not clear on that. I'm sorry.
So I believe like you said, we have a motion on the floor. What I'm wondering is there an option to modify the motion that the recommendation from the TIRZ Board would be that the applicant include costs that are ADA eligible in the TIRZ funding, as opposed to spending the full amount on the facade, that they would spend funding on the ADA items. That would be the recommendation going forward to City Council. And of course, City Council has final say of what they would fund or not fund. But I agree, the facade doesn't seem to warrant what would be up to a maximum award amount. And staff struggled with that too, just a little bit. So that's I think the challenge we have here is this project worthy of the full fund amount, or is there some funding lower than that, or a recommendation of, without modifying your application where they have to come back to the judge's point of, hey, if they've got contractors ready to go, is there something that TIRZ Board can recommend to move forward that is a positive vote at that point?
Right, and if we make that recommendation, Aaron, are we saying that they would have to bring it back for next month, or is that the way that?
If it gets tabled, it would need to come back next month and be reheard. They wouldn't be able to move forward, and we anticipate getting these that were approved today, the ones that have already been approved today, to the next council meeting, not next week, but the week before Thanksgiving.
But we could modify the motion to include ADA or prioritize ADA over the
Yes,
facade.
the person that made the original motion could choose to modify their motion if they wanted to.
Okay.
Who made the original motion?
Yeah.
You did, Shirley.
Would you like?
That's why I'm asking. 'Cause I thought, I'd like to remove my motion. Kathleen, I'd like to remove my motion.
We didn't
Actually-
get a second, so it's died.
Oh, I thought we did. We didn't get a second? Okay, so the
We
motion.
did have a second,
thought-
but go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to, I guess move is not really what I'm looking for. I'd like to amend my motion and ask that this property be tabled until the November TIRZ Board meeting. That's my motion.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to table this property until our November meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second it with a question. Can there be some clarification by the time it gets to city council, or can it be, can they start construction and be allowed to be reimbursed if the clarification is done?
Not under
I'm looking
our,
for a way to try to let them get over and get going.
not under our current policies, no, but that is something we're investigating to try to help move forward. And if there's a full revision of the application, I think that implies it should come back here. If there's a way to do some minor modifications, I think within this group here to move it forward, that may be an option too. So it's kind of it's a very gray area, and I believe we all sitting here want to find ways to help fund it and move it forward, but we all have questions in our mind. Is that the right amount? Is that the right project for that, that type of thing? And so I think that's the question.
If we asked to have the ADA added to the application, and that wasn't able to be done, it just won't happen past here, correct, before council?
Correct, but knowing that they are going to do that anyway, I mean, that's part of the building code. Us being able to swap out that as part of we're funding that piece as opposed to a separate piece is I believe is okay.
So do we still have your second? Steve, no, Steve did though. Or stagnant it with a question. Same motion?
Same motion.
Okay, same second.
I can vote against my second.
You can, you sure can. And so with that, we'll call for a vote on the motion to table 112 West Twohig until next month. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So we have one aye, all against say nay. Nay. All right, so the nays have it. And with that,
I make a motion to approve it, subject to removing the cost of the awning unless they replace it with a permanent metal facility, structure. I move approval of the project with the exception of the awning should be replaced by metal structure.
so let's get a second and then I have a question on that so we can discuss it. Do we have a second on?
Mr. Chairman, I think the motion would be that we would just not participate in the funding for that awning. I don't think we can tell them what kind of awning needs to be up, but we just...
Well, hold on one second. We're trying to follow procedure here. So, Mr. Brown, it's back in your court. So with what Kathleen told us, we can't.
Right, I think you can choose not to fund an item. I don't know that we can require them to change it from this board.
Okay, I'll change my motion. I move approval of the project with the exception of funds should be withheld for the awning. No funding for the awning.
So essentially, the funding that you're requesting is $69,000.
Yes,
75 minus 6.
that math works.
Okay. I'm glad my math is working this
That
afternoon.
awning doesn't cost $6,000.
Okay. So we have,
But you're right, the funding level would be 69
okay.
by the book value.
I'll second that.
Okay, so second for that, and Mr. Missouri, would you like to make any public comment?
The only thing I would like to say is that I don't think it's appropriate for y'all to change what we've decided in DHRC because, correct, Aaron?
Correct,
Is that-
and
Yeah,
they wouldn't be able to. That would be up to y'all's purview of what what it looks like.
That's a whole separate,
Well,
deal. I mean, because it has to go before our board
Yeah.
before it can actually go to TIRZ.
You want to build the awning, like you said, you build it, we're just not going to pay for it.
No,
Correct.
that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, from now on, it's.
They won't have to go back through DHRC, because that was in the
Exactly,
back
that's
of my
what would have to
mind
happen. They would have to come back before our board.
to go
do
for the
that.
metal, though, but if they
Correct,
keep
if
it
they
as
want to change
is.
it.
Okay,
So, because we're very strict
All right.
on, once we approve something, that's it.
okay.
So Chairman, I
We're
think
not changing that, though, Mr. Missouri. We're just saying the motion is to approve it without the
Yes,
cost of the...
perfect.
Yeah,
No,
okay, so
that's
we're not
perfect.
changing.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes,
think you
sir.
have a motion and a second on the floor.
Oh. Okay, so as of right now, we have a motion on the floor to approve funding for 112 West Twohig to the tune of $69,000. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So raise your hand for the ayes. All right, and if you're opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, so the motion passes. Any question or comment you want to make now? Okay, there we go. Well, I just had to make sure right there. So, okay, so the motion passed. With that, I think we've got through all the.
You nayed or did you yay?
I'll say yay.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, just for record.
Yeah, it was a delayed yay. Yeah,
Yes.
she was the nay. Yeah,
Thank you.
all right, moving forward.
Go ahead.
Okay, so moving forward, we move to item D on the agenda, discussion and possible action of the TIRZ Strategic Planning Committee report.
Thank you, Chairman. Aaron Vanoy, Director of Planning Development Services. I just want to give you guys a report of our summertime that we did our TIRZ Strategic Planning Committee. We met about every other Thursday until we had a flood event in our community, and then we got our meetings all moved around because everybody was also working flood work. But as you can see on our screen, our committee members, they did a lot of hard work during this time, led by Ms. Shirley Spears. She was our leader of that committee and kept us on track, and so I thank her very much for that. We also had in participation from Mayor Tom Thompson, SMD District Number 2, Mr. Patrick Keeley, SMD Number 4, Mr. Harry Thomas, from our TIRZ Board, Breanne Killam and Mr. Joe Spano, and then citizens being Monica Ramos, Tiffany Sellers, who is with the Real Estate Association. She's the president-elect for 2026 and was very helpful in seeing it from a real estate perspective and getting that out, as well as a citizen, Michelle Babish, who has utilized funds from TIRZ in the downtown and had a great perspective there. From here, I'm going to turn it over to Shirley and just kind of she's going to give us kind of a quick synopsis of her experience and what she kind of fought for during the TIRZ strategic planning. And we're going to go through some slides about what we're proposing to move forward to City Council. So, Ms. Spears?
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, so to the board and to the public that's seated today, we went through a very extensive process. Again, Aaron showed you who was involved in that process, to make sure that we were looking at 10 years ahead and what we needed to do to maintain the TIRZ funding. We considered all of the policies that are in effect today, and where necessary, we may have tweaked those. I would just like to report for the record that we did not attempt to make any changes to one of the things I know we worked with last year, which was the nonprofit status. So we didn't make any changes or recommendations in our changes to that. We really focused on private and public investments, both in the north and south. We didn't recommend any additional TIRZ areas to be proposed or recommended. We really tried to look at the financial aspects in terms of how much is normally added on a yearly basis, based on what we know now in terms of the value of properties, and that's pretty much how we get the funds to do any of this TIRZ funding. So we had some very interesting activities that staff helped us to go through by walking around the room and prioritizing those things that we felt were important. So even though these things have come out on our recommendation, we did take the time to have every person on that committee to prioritize what was important, and then we really looked at how that fell out. So Aaron is going to finish that. I just want to publicly say that we had a great time working on this committee and thinking out of the box. I think everyone will agree with that. I want to also publicly say that we appreciate our staff for the work that they've done to make sure that we stayed on track. Because we had not done this. None of us that's currently on that committee had ever done this for the city of San Angelo. So we appreciate our staff members and especially bringing the chocolate, Hannah, to make sure that we could stay alert and get these things done. So I just want to say thank you to the staff and thank you to all the committee members. There were a couple of sessions that I couldn't make, but the troopers kept going. And I just want to say thank you very much for that. So I'll turn it over to Aaron for the full report.
Thank you, Mrs. Spears. So up on the screen, you can see kind of our four kind of guiding principles, if you will, or goals that we had was to come out with a unified project plan that would encompass the public and private project areas within TIRZ Zone Number 1. As we went through the process, we learned that it's called TIRZ Zone Number 1, and it has a north area and a south area. Review the current policies and update those policies to reflect the project plan and simplify the process to access funds. I think many of you on this current board and even on past boards have said, how do we make it simpler for folks to get to funds, to put the money to work? Create a unity of vision between City Council and the TIRZ Board and the public for the remaining 10 years of the TIRZ zone, and then provide an action plan for city staff to enact these simple policies and in public incentives to keep the projects moving forward. So funding, public and private. I was very, very impressed with our committee. They have a strong commitment to the private sector and small businesses to make sure that the TIRZ zone, north or south, are making strides with private investments. And so there's a strong commitment, if you will, from the committee members to say we need to continue to keep at least 50% of our funding going to private folks building projects and properties within the TIRZ zone. We have been doing that ever since the initiation of the TIRZ projects. It's kind of a split between private and public, but it was good to hear the commitment saying we want to continue that, and there may be some years that is more than 50% back to the private folks. So that's really important, but that also means that we need with our public projects to be very precise, and the commitment is to help the small businesses keep moving forward, whether that's making improvements in infrastructure or drainage or walkability or tree canopies so that more people can walk during the summertime because you have a nicer managed tree canopy to walk under in downtown. And it's really all of that is focused back on those small businesses along those corridors in those zones. How are we helping them continue to thrive? So some of the ways to do that, in the North Tiers, there's a set aside of $103,740 that is not being utilized. It's a set aside for public improvements, but each year it might get used, it might not get used. The committee's recommendation is let's put that back into the pot and let's use it how the TIRZ Board and City Council sees fit. Some years it might go to private incentives, some years it might get allocated to public things. Step 2 is to prioritize some public projects and which years they could receive funding. And then step 3, as we all know, is when you create the plan, stick to the plan that says this is what we wanted to do with our downtown, with our comprehensive plan, with our TIRZ district from the very beginning. So up here you'll see some public projects. You'll see that we put here on the north, there are some infrastructure elements. There are some areas that do not have sewage connections, that are not on the wastewater system. That would be funding that would be set aside for our public works to work in a CIP project to make those sewer connections complete and potentially make some property, while they may be big lots now, they may cut into smaller lots and become more developable. That they would do that over a number of years. There's some areas on the north that are too far away from fire hydrants, and fire hydrants cost money when it comes down to commercial properties. And so is there ways that we can put some money towards hydrants, have Public Works or a contractor go and install those in those areas to make the land more useful? We also know that there's some drainage issues because of the July the 4th flooding. There's some drainage issues in our north area, and how can we evaluate some of those areas to say how can we work with TxDOT to move some of that drainage from MLK or Chadburn, and whether that goes to the East Angelo Draw or the Concho River in some manner. Over the years is adding street trees and landscape, particularly up Chadburn and MLK, so that there's in those business areas that are walkable, that we have some more walkable areas. In our north, public safety, that is one of the things that originally was in our TIRZ financial plan that we've not spent very much money, in fact, no money on, is public safety. all the way from, they did a presentation for us for some pan, tilt, and zoom cameras. They also talked to us about the drone system that they are starting to deploy when major things happen. And you think about not just the north, but even in the south, we have big festivals or events or a parade, and it's always good to have an equipped and prepared police department, so if something goes badly wrong, they're able to respond faster, able to get boots on the ground quicker and more targeted to where the situation is. And then I also listed on there, that's the TASA project. That's the project that this board had recommended funding and City Council has recommended funding. That's the big connectivity project. I just listed that on there that we know that that project is happening. They're going out to bid for part of that project here in the next few months, and it's going to start at Beauregard, go all the way up to 29th and over through that area of the TIRZ. It'll also go down to through the south TIRZ down Chadburn to, I want to say Highland is our last block of the TIRZ, but it'll actually go all the way to Avenue L. In the south, looking at some placemaking studies or designs, particularly with Santa Fe Park and Riverfront in those areas, or how does it impact our Fort Concho in the Cultural District. There is a desire to find where is the right spot for additional parking in our downtown or in our South Tiers area. How can we find that right place? Again, you see tree canopy there and managed. Some of our trees are starting to get mature enough that they're starting to rub on buildings. And over time, while we appreciate our private folks wanting to come and manage those trees, we really need to have somebody manage all of them so that some of them just don't get damaged and diseased over time. Again, that's a longer, and I'll get to this right side of the thing in just a moment. Connectivity, where can we add sidewalks to get connectivity, particularly in the Cultural District around the fort or on Concho Avenue now, or is it Oak Street? Where does it make more sense? There are some traffic things to look at in the downtown area, and particularly on Oaks and Love Street, just past the bridge as you're going to Fort Concho. Can be a dangerous spot there, especially with people coming from the south that have hit the MHMR building a number of times and taken out a few of some street trees that have been placed in there that looked really, really good. Looks like I did miss one on the top, and I just noticed it on the bottom, and I'll get to that in just a second. And then again, public safety on the bottom, talking about those things, splitting that cost between north and south. And then the dangerous and boarded buildings, you actually saw projects today that are resolving at least 2 buildings that are on that list. Going to go back with some duplexes that were boarded buildings. I'm not sure if either one of them were listed as dangerous, but that is something that within the district that the discussion with the committee was, do we invest in helping those properties get rehabbed, whether that's getting boards on them to keep folks from breaking into them and getting at them, or do we raise them and start a project anew, saying, all right, we've got you blank land, we've got you a new water tap, a new sewer tap, let's bring forward a project and bring something. But this gives the city some tools to go and help private property owners say, hey, we have a pool of money. If you need to raise your building, we've got some money here set aside within the TIRZ district to do that. On the right side, the next to last column where you see the dates, those would be dates that we can discuss of. That would be dates that they would get started on something. That's the dates that the funding would get started. And then that funding would be drawn out over a number of years so that it could be spread out so that we still have private funding sitting in the buckets, if you will, of north and south to give out those private incentives. So in the north, we anticipate an additional $12 million of the last decade of this. So if we break that in 50-50, $6 million going to private incentives, $6 million going to public items, that would be the end. And we would have roughly over the 10-year period, just under 950,000 additional that probably would go to private. I mean, each year that's 94,000 is what that is. In the south, where there's more of a commitment to say we want to give more to the south for private incentives, where we anticipate an additional $10 million coming in, that we would do 5.5 million for private incentives in the south, and that leaves the 4.5 for the south. Going through those numbers over the next decade, roughly would leave about 800,000 in there that we would have, if you will, a contingency fund, or hey, we need to scoot things, or maybe that one of those things we decide not to do, and we say we need to incentivize some private stuff here, and vice versa. So before I move on from this slide, are there any questions on this slide or any thoughts for that maybe I can answer for any of you on the board? Yes, sir.
When are we gonna do something about the police station, get a new police station?
That's a great question. I know he has lots of thoughts on that, but I think I do not know. I know that we do own that building, but I don't know what the plans are for that building. But I know that there's. Okay, I'm sure my voice holds a lot of clout there. As much as yours, right, Chief?
He got up.
But yes, I agree, that is a need within our community, that. All right, if there's nothing else on this item, I will move over here. So on the policies, I did put in y'all's packet a new policy update. What we were looking for is emphasis in consistency from south to north on private incentives, highlight those safety items. So we talked about asbestos survey, fire sprinklers, how do we make secondary egress, things that have always been part of the tiers. How do we make sure that the public knows that those are high interest items for this group? ADA items, that this is what's going to make that building occupiable so that a business or something can go into the building. Within the policies, encourage early engagement with the Business Development Center, the SBDC, and with city development. Come do a pre-development so that if you're wanting to do something like a dance studio, while we may give you funding from the tiers, and when you go to step 2 and you go to pull your permit, what if there's a surprise there that says, oh, well, you need to add 2 more restrooms, or you need to add a sprinkler system? It'd be nice to know those things before you bring your funding request forward, and we're trying to encourage that. We are requesting to increase the maximum award levels from the 75,000 up to the 100,000 level. Add the ability for multi-story awards and awards across budget years. So if you have a multi-story building, currently we look at that as one address, just like if it was a one-story building. Well, there's been a lot of discussion and desire to say, all right, well, there's multiple stories there that's going to cost more money, and maybe that's a sprinkler system or some safety aspect, like an elevator or secondary egress. Well, you only give 100,000 for one floor. Well, that's probably not going to come close to paying for it, or to get it to pencil out that it makes the private investor to say, I want to invest in that. So is there a way to do multi-story awards and awards that would be, all right, in 2027, we're going to give you this much, and then we're going to allocate some more money in 28 and in 29 based on you hitting some benchmarks, trying to get them to start moving on some of our big buildings. My example is, you look at the Roosevelt Hotel. While it's a 4-story building, and it's a good-sized building, we have buildings that are taller than that. It took well over a decade to get that project moving forward. And if our tiers wants to impact any of our taller structures, we got to find ways to get it to impact them somehow. Otherwise, they're going to stay there vacant, hoping that private investors are going to come forward and do something. So I think we think that's a good move going forward. Again, that'll be up for discussion and y'all's recommendation. The other thing I also like is the ability to move forward once an application is submitted with risk, similar to what Judge Floyd asked earlier. Can they get started? The committee said, all right, if they have a complete application and it's been turned in, they could get started with their project. Now, they're at risk because they may come here and you may not recommend funding, and City Council may not recommend funding, but they wouldn't be eliminated from asking for funding. Right now, they're kind of eliminated from asking for funding. This would give them the option to move forward. Now, again, it's at their risk. Just like we had a little bit of a discussion that every project is, we don't want, if the maximum level is 75,000, that's not a guarantee that every project's gonna get 75,000. Y'all may decide to say, okay, well, it's really worth $60,000 worth of our investment. And that's okay. But that was one of the things that was changed in the policies. And the last one was to really kind of highlight the encouragement to purchase materials and supplies locally. We made that kind of a 50-mile radius, but it's still subject to y'all's decision. So if y'all decided, okay, well, Pecos is locally enough. I don't know what they make in Pecos, but maybe somebody bought something from Pecos to brought in here. The idea is to try, how do we keep the money in the Concho Valley? If we're putting our tax dollars out there and we're going to help buy materials, can we keep some of it in the Concho Valley and keep that dollar bill circulating around? Any questions on this
Yeah,
slide? Yes,
I
sir.
have two. Number one, multi-story awards. How many floors does that building need to have to be eligible for that?
I might have to scratch my brain and look into my policy to see if we we started
it
out
was
with
3.
a certain story, but maybe we changed it, but I'm gonna, let me look back and so I can give you the right answer.
Okay. Do you want me to ask the second question while you're looking that up?
Sure.
Or give you a moment? I'll give you a minute.
So yes, you're correct. On page 4 out of 8 of the policies, I'll just read it directly. Multi-story buildings will have the ability to request funding per floor if the building is 3 stories or taller.
Okay.
So starting at 3 stories and up.
So incentivizing investment in some of the larger buildings.
Yes, sir.
That we have. Okay. Second question is under encouragement to purchase materials and supplies locally within a 50-mile radius. So the word encouragement, I like. What you described sounds like requirement, which.
No, it's not a requirement.
Okay.
They do not have to buy their materials locally.
Okay, so it wouldn't be that we would have to approve materials or y'all would end up having to approve. We just create more bureaucracy that way.
Correct. This is
Okay.
just kind of an added incentive in there. If they wanted to get their sales tax back from items that they purchased locally, they'd be able to prove that up, and that would be part of the submission.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's helpful. Yeah.
Any other questions on that one? So last is talking about unity between the TIRZ Board and the City Council. We believe from a staff standpoint and from a committee standpoint that it's never been more important to strengthen the heart of our community, the downtown and the commercial corridors that lead to it. And that's, if you really looked at the TIRZ map, that's what it is the heart of the downtown and all these corridors that are coming to the downtown. How are you funneling people up and down those corridors? This 4-month process has allowed open communication between members of the council and TIRZ, as well as public input and stakeholders within the TIRZ zone. And the commitment to the small business development, continued historic and facade preservation, and a vibrant, connected cultural area downtown commercial corridors was deeply embedded with the committee and is the plan moving forward. So I'm very encouraged by that as being city staff to hear what our citizens, what our business leaders, what our appointed and elected officials are wanting for this final 10 years of the TIRZ district. So I'm very excited about that. With that, the recommendation is to adopt the proposal from the Strategic Committee for the Public and Private Funding Principles, policy updates, and commitment for city staff to execute the TIRZ zone plan in the remaining 10 years and be concluded in 2036. Our goal is, if we have that discussion today, is to move it to the second meeting in November, which I might get the date wrong, but I think that's November the 18th, but I'd have to look at the date. But it's the second city council meeting for them to vote on those policies and to move it forward. There are a number of looks like we have PD as well as parks here. If you had any questions about any of the public stuff that they had, but they were here to kind of support their case. They did come to did some presentations with the committee and about things that they were looking for and what they would come forward with. So with that, I will turn it back over to you, Chairman, and I'll be happy to answer any questions the group has.
Okay, does the board have any questions, comments?
Carl, do you want to say something about your project?
I recall there was a couple of projects. One was continue the landscaping, like Aaron mentioned, along Chaburn in the TIRZ area, because that does help the streetscape, makes it more inviting, more comfortable to stay in the shops and all. The other one was funding, helping to fund the parks, the River Parks Master Plan, which is looking at Santa Fe Park and parks connecting to Santa Fe Park, and looking at a master plan that re-envisions how to use those properties, those parks, keeping essentially a lot of what we have, but how do we connect them and enhance them better? Of course, golf, whether golf stays at Santa Fe Park would be under consideration. The main driving thing in this plan is that Concho River Legacy Trail project, which is that huge sculpture project. We're talking 110 sculptures that tells the story of our area, prehistory, Native Americans, settlement, Buffalo Soldiers, early settlers, going on into modern history. And it tells that story of our settlement along the river parks, and kind of like just vignettes.
That's gonna be primarily privately funded, isn't it?
100% privately funded. And actually,
$1 million worth.
they've raised about $6 million, I understand. And I think it'll be phased in. This master plan kind of looks at the big picture of what we do, but when it comes to actual landscape development plans, the private funds will have to pay for that, to incorporate the sculptures into the parks.
All gonna be in Santa Fe, primarily.
Well, not necessarily. We're looking, the scope of the plan is, we're looking at, I think, pretty much, it includes up to the World War II Memorial, crossing the convention center, going upriver, all the way up to the tip of Santa Fe Park, Civic League Park, Sunken Garden Park. And it's a cool project if it could happen. I mean, that would be a huge draw for San Angelo and the area. Yes. I think those are the two main ones we talked about.
Yeah.
The chief want to elaborate on anything he needs?
Now qualify that statement, Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
A new police station. Hey, first off, I want to say thank to you, each and every one of y'all guys for serving our community. It's hard sometimes to get people to serve on boards, and I appreciate all the work that y'all have done into this. And I will second the thank you to the staff for all that y'all guys have been doing on this. To see the other aspects of what different divisions do inside the city is always impressive. This is real simple for us. We're trying to find force multipliers. I think as we look at resources as being tight, and we all have a finite amount of money and where we can get things done inside our city, this is one thing that was me and Aaron were talking to say, hey, we're trying to find that force multiplier, and in this, as a drone as first responder, is something that we can shorten our 3.5 minute, almost 4 minute response time to about 45 seconds to get eyes on a crime that occurs inside the TIRZ zones. So that's what one aspect. Imagine a burglary that's taking place, and being able to have recorded video of the crime that's still in progress, as opposed to us trying to track them down after they've left. The amount of time and resources we spend to investigate, where we can actually catch them in the act, which helps with prosecution. It helps with recidivism rates. It's not lost on me that the amount of time and savings we would be able to put forth patrolling those neighborhoods and having that force multiplier. I think we will be the first one in West Texas with this type of technology being deployed. We're starting to see it in New Mexico, all throughout the Metroplex, and they're seeing the amount of resources they can cut back and save on from ambulances, fire, and police is immense. So I think it's a great project for our community, and it will help bring home a much safer San Angelo for the future.
All right.
When you gonna get a new building?
Well, I won't hijack people's time. We are looking at that for a long-term plan of, within the next 4 years. So, thank you.
Thank you.
When I was city manager, we needed a new building then. That's been 25 years ago.
Amen.
Noted, Mr. Brown, right there. So any other questions or comments on this? All right, well, we have a recommendation to adopt this and move it forward. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to say that we should adopt this presentation from the Strategic Subcommittee.
Okay, do we have a second on that? I'll second. Okay, so Brianne is going to second it, and with that, the motion is on the floor. I do have one comment before we take this to City Council. Could we please double-check the spelling of everybody's name on there? Because I know certain city councilmen who have their hands raised in the back might be a little sensitive about it.
Did I?
Did you have the wrong district? But did I have the wrong district for you? Yeah.
Oh,
I
can
wasn't
blame
so
both
much
of
trying to
us.
put y'all on the spot as I was just trying to poke fun at him, is what I was really trying to do there. But with that, do we have any public comments, because we have a motion on the floor?
we don't have any public comment for this item.
All right, well, with that, we will call for, or I will call for a vote, and so if you're in favor of this, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it right there. So with that, yeah, yes, thank y'all for all your hard work on this. Thank you, Shirley, for leading it. Thanks for everybody else who participated in it. Mr. Brown, we'll see you next month. Aaron, do you have anything for us with the director's report?
The only minor thing I have is that on November the 17th, that's the end of the 90 days for the disaster relief portion of the North Tiers. As Hannah mentioned earlier, we do have 2 applicants that we're working on, but that's just good for the public to hear again in case there's somebody that didn't hear about it for some reason, but we just want to make sure that y'all knew that.
Okay, so November 17th is the last day if you were affected, if you were a business affected
Yes.
by the flood to apply for some of the TIRZ funding that we set aside. All
Yes.
right.
And you will have updated interest figures for it.
Actually, he had them. You missed it. You missed it. But we can catch you up after, actually, he can catch you up after the meeting, so we don't have to.
I'll get them for you next year at this time.
Yeah.
And then please be mindful of December. We might have to have our meeting early just because of how December falls out, but let's be mindful of that because I do believe that we'll either be hearing some cases or we'll be setting some, we'll have some stuff probably.
Yes, sir.
So just be mindful of that. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for that, and I think that this meeting is already concluded, but I will call for a vote, and if you're in, what? I think that was all of it, with the director's report and announcements right there. Yeah. So on that note, since we have several members standing up, the meeting is already essentially concluded, but to make it official, if you're in favor, stand up, and we will conclude this meeting. Thank you. Yeah, we lost our quorum too. Thank you for attending today's meeting.